Okay, I think we are now live. So let's continue our journey. Um, I think we were in 18th. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, 17 Tesham done yesterday.
Yeah, Tesham we did. Okay, now I think we did the 18th one also because then we said
correct. Last one, yeah.
I am the same. Okay, now in the verse number 19. Now he says that this Gnani, I don't find it. So, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudevah Sarvam Iti Saha Mahatma Sudurlabha. So, Vasudeva Kutumba, I think yesterday we were using, or day before yesterday. So, this is what it is all about. That is, the Gnani has no difference between him or the other or the higher or the lower or the side or the top or the bottom or whichever way it is seen. They all look the same. So, intellectually, one might experience this much by reading, that is Shravana, Manana, that is reflecting. Nididhyasana is a difficult process at this stage. That's what this shloka is saying. That means after many births, this person gets to see what reality is, and that itself is so rare. So Durlabha. Now, what does this mean? Is that we have this duality which is embedded with us. So there are various strategies that can be used to remove duality. One of that is like I said yesterday, we normally have 16 breaths in a minute, and then if you take an hour or so, so even if we take, let's say we 60 minutes into 16, or let us say 20 breaths in a minute, and then it becomes 1000, and if we take 24 hours, it will become 24,000 breaths. So if we create that urgency in life, then the very next moment you have vairagya without reason, without associating any reason that what is this and why is this, why should I do it, and all that. Meaning, if it gets internalized. So there are two things which happens. One is that intellectually the person knows that there are quite a less number of breaths, and that everybody knows. I don't think so there is any ignorant person who doesn't know that there are limited breaths and limited heartbeat, and a whole body is limited. I don't think so there is a confusion there. The maya here is that it is forgotten. Simple. Because the mind is consistently distracted through the five senses. So the mind cannot really make out anything. So it makes out what it generates. So it generates a picture, and that picture is held very high by the mind, thinking that that is what it is. So, from the time of birth till now, if we were to seriously observe, we are basically doing the same thing, but then it looks different. because the environment is different, the relationships are different, the situations are different, the challenges are different, the joy and the happiness what we are getting through material comforts and other things are different. The sorrows and lamentation which we are getting through the same thing are totally different. People attitude are different. The way things are working in my life is different, so everything is different. Like Bhatt was explaining about the sky, and he is lucky that he is able to see the sky. And let's say I'm not able to see the sky. Now, my situation is different, and that's the reason I'm not able to see the sky. But sky has no interest whether Bhatt is seeing it or is not seeing it. The other person or me or whatever is able to see it or not. Same thing, we are identifying the birds, the trees, everything, but the tree or the bird is not concerned about what we are naming it, what we are identifying with. It's not pleased because we are identifying it, it's not displeased because we did not identify it. But this fact is forgotten, that it doesn't make any sense, or there is no essence at all in all of that. They're just appearing in our consciousness. They truly don't exist outside of consciousness. But the mind interferes and says that, no, excuse me, please wait a second. It is appearing in me, and I am able to keep it. See, as many times as I see the sparrow, I can understand this is the sparrow. And if I don't understand, then I'll ask, okay, what is this? And my new perception takes shape. So basically, what is happening to me is that I can stand out with my knowledge, with my expertise. So in every field, we get people who would like to compete and become experts in that area. So they don't get into this Vasudeva Kutumbam, because he always feels that he is different than the others. And that is how it should be, as per karma, as per the guna, what one is having, as per the vishesha, and all that what we had discussed earlier. So it should be like that, because the vasanas are different, the gati is different, so everything is different. So it can't be the same. But then the consciousness is not bothered. Just like the crow, which is now making sound here, is not bothered about what I feel. Or now the cuckoo has not come. I don't know, maybe it got tired of listening to Bhagavad Gita continuously. But today we have crow. So what is happening in the mind? The crow is established, and I can get two views out of the crow. The crow voice is horrible, so I don't like it, it is disturbing. Or the crow voice is good, or the crow voice is neutral, that is not doing anything to me. But if I were to go and explain this to somebody saying that the crow was singing, he'll say, have you gone mad? It doesn't sing. It has a very bad voice. It gets irritated unless you love crows. So then comes the opinions. So either I have to stand out or that person will stand out. So basically we are in this business of standing out. Whereas spirituality and liberation, or realization and liberation. Realization is that it is one kutumba, whether as an insect, as a mosquito biting me or an ant biting me, and then can be any animals we see, domesticated, pet or otherwise, or we can categorize them in whatever way we want. Then the humans, then the devas and the Brahma. Now we don't have an experience of Deva and Brahma, so we don't know what it is except for imagining it. But the others we have an experience. So when I don't consider that mosquito which is biting is not biting me, it is taking the food which is what I have done. I've basically eaten the food from the plant, and then the plant did not react while I picked it up. I boiled it or I cut it or put it in whatever, and then I've eaten, and that has created the essence, which we call it as the ojas, and that is what is was there in the plant. But then the mosquito comes, or the ant comes, or something else comes. I feel terribly upset because I feel this is my body. How come this insect wants to partake and it is going to lead me to disease? It's going to carry some virus and things like that, or bacteria, and that will get implanted in my body, and I'm going to suffer. And because of that, I this being is not fit to be alive. So then I kill it. Now the context at which it is killed, yes, due to the fact that it is going to create diseases, we have to eliminate it. But what is the state of mind with which it is being killed? Do I feel the pain of dying while I hit that mosquito? Do I feel it myself that 1 minute back it was flying comfortably or it was sucking blood comfortably, and now comes a thing which falls on its body and it doesn't know anything at all after that? So the pain it underwent, can I really feel the pain? Now if I feel the pain, then I still have to eliminate, then I am not having any ill will at all on that mosquito. So I might cover my body and sit so that no mosquito can bite, and even then it is biting, then I will have a compassionate outlook and I still kill it, but there is no ill will. So in that way, no karma is going to bind me. This is a experiential reality one has to have. Now that was an ant. Okay, sorry, a mosquito. Fine. The pain it underwent is fairly smaller when compared to what a human being is going to have. Now somebody comes to my home and asks for food, and I don't give because that person looks good enough to actually go to work. Why he's not working, I don't know. Then I, or he asks for money and I would like to give him food, and he doesn't like to take food but he wants money, then fine, that is his problem because I can give food. Similarly, if somebody is coming and then I use harsh words on that person, or I abuse him, or I do something to him or her, that is much stronger in karma than killing the mosquito. because there is an intent to hurt. So intention causes karma. So in the Vasudeva Kutumbam, there is no intention at all. So the Jnani, by his vision, can see everything in himself. He himself is the ant, he himself is the mosquito, he himself is the beggar, he himself is that person who has come to kill, he himself might be a robber, he can be a dacoit, he might be whoever, including the Brahma and the Deva and all that. He can see everything in himself. Just like what Krishna said in the previous shloka, that everybody is in me and I am not there in them. Similarly, this Jnani knows that he is in everyone, but then they don't know that he exists. They only know that they exist. Now, this is what we can say irony, or we can say paradoxical situation. The Jnani knows that he is indeed that person, or he indeed is that ant, he indeed is that whatever, and even he indeed is that unmanifested, yet to take the womb, either as a egg form or being directly born like a deva, or born out of a womb as in animal and humans. So this is really rare. One of the rarest person that can see everything in him. Now, except for Krishna, who else had experienced it? The only person who has documented it is Buddha, Gautama Buddha. And there is a Metta Sutta which talks about how he really see and how one should see everyone. So, if we were to follow Krishna, then we need to get into the Vasudeva Kutumbam. That is, you see everyone as you. You exist, they all exist in you, but you don't exist in them. Meaning, when they see you, they see themselves. But when you see them, you see yourself in them. So when I am wanting to kill the mosquito which is going here and there, my wisdom says that it is not in search of me. It is in search of food. What is that I am doing? I am also in search of the same food. Why am I working? For the food. To whom? To myself and my family. And what is that mosquito doing? Doing the same thing. It is also accumulating for itself and it's for its family. What is the ant doing? It is collecting food for the colony. So like that, if we keep on seeing in all the species, I can see that I am indeed doing what they are doing. So now my I becomes everyone, all inclusive. So this becomes a realization of inclusion. There is no differentiation between me and the other me. They all are the same. Now, this is the reason why it is called as Manaha Urshataha, is the definition for Manushya. Yasya Manaha Urshataha Sa Manushyaha. One whose mind is elevated is a Manushya. Elevated in what sense? Elevated in sense of Shrishti Sthiti Laya, or able to transcend Rajas Tamas Sattva, or is able to transcend the Jagrati, Swapna and the Sushupti stage and get into Turiya, the fourth. Now when he goes to the fourth stage, he is relieved because the mind is released from the tension, from the anxiety, from the worry, from what was impermanent, anitya. It has gone into something which is nitya, which doesn't change. Everything else will change. Now, what is this change? This change is about everything arises, stays there for some time, and passes away. When we say daylight has started, yes, it has started. It will stay for some time. It will pass away. We can even see it in our breath. The breath has started, will stay for some time, and will pass away. So you have Srishti, Sthiti, Laya in everything. At some mundane way of living. What's a supramundane way of living? One, to know that this is mundane, and two, transcend the mundane. Transcend the mundane through what? Through Gyana, through wisdom. And that's what is this chapter all about. Now he comes to the question what we had looked up into when we did the Bhuta Shuddhi, and then there are other deities. So he says, introduction to the deities. So there are many kind of deities. The first deity is a Devata. So these are the Indra, the Varuna, Agni, Vayu, all of that is the deities who have a specific function and a specific role. And there are 33 of these kind of deities. And there are deities which are in service of the Devata. They are lesser evolved beings, but they serve the 33 deities. The only problem with these deities is that they don't have any spiritual direction to be given. But their job is to give the bhakta whatever he or she asks for. So these are called as the family deities, Kula Devata, Divine Mother, saintly beings like Guru Raghavendra or Vadiraja or Shankaracharya or Madhvacharya, or we can take Ramanujacharya, and whomever the person consider them as in service, or if we take Jesus Christ, messenger of God, that's what it is. So they give what the being expects it to be. It is like the story what I had narrated some time ago about the ant and the person, and he gives a leaf and it crosses that puddle of water. That's all what it is. So the Kula Devata and all these devatas are those who can do a minimalistic activity. When the bhojana is given, they will come and smell and they will bless and go. So the prasada will be very nice to eat. So the plethora of gods what we have in our culture fits into this category. These are all gods in service of that devata, that supreme. Now, how do I get into supreme? By leaving all the gods. No, that is not possible because we have a family tradition of doing this. Okay, then you have to leave the supreme. But what if that supreme doesn't see me? That's a problem. He will not see you unless the person is willing to see the supreme. How do I know I am eligible for seeing the supreme? The moment I leave myself, then I am able to see the supreme. I don't think so. I am yet qualified for that. Then I should stop imagining the supreme and instead go into the deities which I worship. But that causes dependencies. Yes, it causes dependency, but that's what I want it to be because I don't want to let go of myself. Can I have the deity what I worship and also the supreme at the same time? Answer is yes and no. Yes, in the sense for the mind to feel it is not dying. No, in the sense because it shows the person, that is myself, have no faith in that supreme. Now, how do I transcend from going from one deity to the supreme? Start with the duality, drop the duality. Then there is another kind of deity. These are called as asuric. These people have lot of power, and whoever can give them whatever they want, they'll gift that being with that power. So this is asuric, demonic kind. So we have this satanic kind of existences and we have saintly kind of existences. The satanic kind of existences are also coming from the same supreme. The saintly kind of existences are also coming from the same supreme. The satanic have the same power as of the saintly. But the problem is the satanic people or the asuras, they have greed and they don't have belief. So in that way, it becomes quite beneficial for the devas or the saintly kind to win over the asuras. But again, the same problem is there in our mind. We have saintly thoughts and we have asuric satanic thoughts, and they both are powered by the same supreme consciousness. That consciousness doesn't make any distinction between the saintly and the sinner. It gives what the mind wants. Mind wants saintly, here it is. Mind wants satanic, okay, here it is. So the mind becomes the sinner, the mind becomes the saint. There is nothing called as a saintly person and a sinful person. There is just this mind which at that time is saintly or at that time is sinful. So now the problem comes, you don't have any deity which will take you really to neutral, except for that neutral. So you have to drop all deities and only take the one which will take you to liberation. Otherwise, it is not going to work. So what he's saying is that those devoted to other deities, what happens in the verse number 20? Kamaihi tataihi tataihi taihi hrita gyana prapadyante anya devataah tam tam niyatam astitaya prakritya nityatah swaya. So kamaihi, kama is sensuality. Taihi taihi hrita jnanaha. The jnana, the wisdom is looted away by the desire. Prapadyante anya devataah. Approach any of the other gods. Tam tam niyatam asthaya. Following this or that rites and rituals. Prakritya niyataha swayaha. This person is completely damaged by their own nature. They get caught up in this samsaric belt of asking and getting and not getting, again asking. So the connection towards the Supreme is permanently lost. So that becomes Anya Devataha. So instead of going with one Supreme Being, this person is now running behind the agents. And agents takes only the agency commission to do something. So you give the commission and it works. Again, it stops working. You leave that agent, take another agent, that another agent, again, you have to plead him or do something to him. And they keep on doing this forever because they are in tamas. So once the devotee chooses to approach a particular deity with his request, he places himself or herself fully under the control of the deity. Now he has to do the process as demanded by the deity through the book. So we have thousands of books, thousands of gods, thousands of rituals to suit that particular kind of deity. Because there is a desire. Let's say I want to migrate to America or I need a H-1B visa. So what I can do? So there is in Hyderabad a temple called as Visa Balaji temple. It's a Venkateshwara temple, but the good news is that you go with your request before going to the embassy. You go there, you tie a thread, you put your scanned copy, a photocopy of the passport, and the priest will do some archana to that passport, and he will tie it to the tree there. And then you go to the embassy either in Hyderabad or in Chennai, stand in the line, and fortunately, and then start praying to that visa Balaji that, look, you promised me that you will get me H1B visa. Please do something. And as soon as he stands in front of that consulate person, then he says, yes, your H1B is approved. You can fly. And is very happy. He comes there. He again unties that thing and gives money, and he goes away. So almost all the people going to America on permanent job or whatever it is, or even getting this citizenship or whatever, they don't forget to visit Visa Balaji temple. Like that we have many, and it works. So this kamya karma will make a person do all kind of deeds which will pull him below. But that is what I want right now. I want to migrate to America. So what should I do? Well, here is the process. And there are books written on how to get your visa in Telugu, basically, and people will follow that. So there's a process. And the desire will be always in relation to the nature of that person. A tamasic person will have a very tamasic desire. And most of our desires, or rather 99% of desires, are tamasic. They are never sattvic. Oh. One second. Yesterday I had made it to private and it is showing as private. So most of our desires, or more than 95% of our desires, or even almost 100% desires, if we really put and see, would be karma related. Meaning, karma itself is desire, but it will be related to what I want to achieve in this life. So we have to choose the deity of that kind which will help us to get what we wanting to do. So they are always driven by their own nature, and they will be not knowing that what they are doing is wrong as well, because there is no sattvic nature which can come and tell them that, or tell me that what I am doing is wrong. So if I can give another example, I think I have given once, I don't know whether I gave or not, but let me give, even if it becomes a repetition in terms of how foolish the desires can be. So, in the year 2002, somewhere, I wanted to change the job. At that time, I had seen all of my friends migrating to different countries, and this thought came in me that why I shouldn't migrate to a different country as a project manager. So I was obsessed with this idea of going abroad and working. So then I wanted to visit Middle East, Dubai. So there is this in Sonda, a place called Sonda, which is near the Sirsi, where there is this Vadiraja Swami temple, a nice acharya, and I was told that if you go to him, he will never say no to any request, however tough it can be. So then this thought arose in me, why don't I go and request for me to go to Dubai? So then it so happened that there is a process for that. So there is a 3 day process where you need to be not eating and a lot of things to be done, and you have to do it with devotion, and then once you do it, it will give the result or the fruit. So many people come there for different purposes, and I went here on this purpose to fly to Dubai. Now I came back. Now many friends who were of my friends who were there in Dubai were trying to help me to come there as a project manager in their company or whatever. So I'd given my resumes to them, and it was seemingly not working for whatever reason. And then in 2004, because of accumulated points of airlines over long number of years, I got a free ticket to Dubai. So my wife's cousin, he said that why don't you come and stay with me so that you don't have to stay anywhere, and you can also apply for the job. So then I got 2 weeks permission from my office, and I wanted to see Dubai desperately. So Sharjah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and all that. So then the dream came true. So I went there. Now I could go and meet people, talk to them about what I can do to their organization. So I gave, so there is this Dubai Internet City, which is an IT hub. So I was applying for an IT job. So I went there along with my friend, and we met so many organizations, and he also wanted to take me into his organization. So all that funny thing happened. At the end, nothing happened. So then he said that 15 days is not enough, and then you need to be here in Dubai for at least 2 or 3 months, and then only you'll get a job. And I said I cannot do that. And anyway, it was a free ticket. I came back to Bangalore, leaving all that plan of settling down in Dubai. But there was one friend of mine who was constantly in touch with me, and he wanted to help me to come to Middle East. So in 2015, I went to Dubai through Deloitte. So I stayed there for 6 months, got what I wanted to do, but anyway, I came back, by which time my mind had changed. So if I really look at this, the Devata, this is exactly what I've done. Being a real tamasic person in 2002, and slowly it started changing from then on. So by the time I came to 2011, 12, it had changed much. And after I quit the job, it was sea of change, then just that change. So, if I were to reflect back and see all of my experience, if I could put it in the bucket and see from the time I started my career, 1994 to 2013, where I was on a regular job, all have been tamasic. It can be in terms of salary hike or position or doing something that this kind of project or that kind of project or this kind of initiative, that kind of initiative, this kind of technology, that kind of technology, this kind of working environment, that kind of working environment, all that if I were to just accumulate and see, it's purely tamasic. There is nothing sattvic in that. Only from 2013 onwards, I can consider something as sattvic. And in the recent past, I can consider, like when I started my work with Bosch to ABB, if I were to consider, then that number of years I can consider it to be really sattvic. So the difference even I was making at that time is that I never used to fight a lot for the salary hike, but then I have never worked without expectation. So the bulk of working life of mine is always into tamasic. Either I was tamasic or the environment was tamasic, but whatever said and done, it is tamasic. So this is where I am caught up into, because there is something to be gained. And when I want to gain something, then I need the DT. When I don't want to gain anything, then I go to the Supreme. If I want to gain something, then without DT, how can I gain something? So I have to go to other DTs. So in the verse number 21, he says that the faith determines what kind of deity a person worships. Yaha yaha yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architum ichhati tasya tasya achalam shraddham tam eva vidadhami aham. Whatsoever form or the other deities, bhaktaha is any devotee wanting to, shraddhaya architum ichhati, desires to worship as per his faith, tasya tasya achalam shraddham, the same faith, that same very faith of his unflinching or completely secured kind of faith, tam eva vidadhami aham, that I myself give it to him. It's a very nice verse to see. There is consciousness which is not bothered about the person, the mind is bothered about it. The shraddha which it thinks it is going for the devotee is happening, the shraddha which is going from the devotee to that deity, this consciousness which is inside only is doing that for him. But the person who is sitting, the mind does not realize this at all. It always sees that the God is outside and it is inside, and it wants to meet the God. So it goes with lot of expectation, and these expectations can be rajasic, can be tamasic, and can be sattvic. But when the person goes to the other deities, the person is submerged in tamasic. So that's what he says. And we can see this happening in the faith. We choose the God based upon our mindset, because those gods really give what the mindset is all about. So the verse number 22, he says that Saha taya shraddhaya yuktah tasya aradhanam ihate labate cha tatah kaman maya eva vihitan hitan. He is endowed with that faith, engages in the worship of that deity, and from him he obtains all his desires. These being, they are given by me alone. That is, that consciousness itself is giving all that to him. It is not that he is doing anything. The problem with this approach is that the Supreme is infinite, whereas these deities are finite. They are in a better place than humans, but they themselves cannot liberate that individual. And that is the reason most of the time you will find people choosing Krishna or Rama or Buddha or something as their savior. The reason that is done is because none can help in liberation except these people who can give guidance on how to liberate. So if I were to follow Krishna, the advantage I have is that I can take Bhagavad Gita and exactly follow the steps. And it works. But if I take any other documentation, shloka or whatever it is, it doesn't give me anything other than getting attached to that, either to that meter or either to that sound or to the profit I am going to get out of studying those scriptures. Whereas if I take this Bhagavad Gita, that is sufficient. And that's the reason Shankara made Bhagavad Gita as part of the Prasthanatraya. Then he added Brahma Sutras, because Brahma Sutra gives you the information on what is this Brahman all about. Experiencing of Brahman is all about. Then he took the 10 Upanishads out of 1000 plus Upanishads, in categorizing them what really helps in liberation. So he didn't take all the Upanishads and say that okay, all Upanishads will give you the knowledge of liberation. And if you see, he has not taken any of the Vedas there. He has not mentioned any of the 4 Vedas to help in liberation. He has only taken these 3. Prasthanatrayi. And what he did is that he wrote 2 beautiful, one is a summarized one and one is a bigger one. So one is, the summary is the Bhajagovindam, and the summarized one is the Bhajagovindam, and the bigger one which can be used as a practice is Viveka Chudamani. So if I am a Shankara follower desirous of getting into liberation, the best documentation or the best steps I can use, instead of going to 100 different things, is go through the Dashopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra as a theory. Then as a practice, come to Viveka Chudamani. And that's it, no other documentation. I don't even require Aparoksha Anubhuti. Aparoksha Anubhuti gives you what is his Anubhuti. So in 142 verses, he explains what he has experienced and what someone should treat everything. So that gives a summary of everything. So the only document which helps me truly in liberating myself in detail is Viveka Chudamani. So if I were to go through all the 4 volumes of Viveka Chudamani along with tips and tricks indicated in the Bhagavad Gita, that is sufficient for me to get into liberation path. And then I can use Bhajagovindam as my daily cup of tea so that I don't forget. So the 33 verses of Bhajagovindam is something which will make me get into that mood again and again and again, which will establish the Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana, and Mumukshatva. So these 9 things gets perfectly in alignment, perfectly in place. That helps me to fix the yama and the niyama which are not there in me. So what did I do is, instead of going through 100 different things and 100 different deities, concept and all that, I can stick to this. So that is the reason you'll see all the people who have liberated themselves are with one single deity. They don't go behind anything else. And one single book, that's all. No other literature. The lesser clutter we have, the better is the enlightenment, and better will be the liberation. The more we have, the more the confusion, and it will itself become a bondage. Because letting go is what we have to do. Instead of that, we keep on holding on to it. So that's what the next one he says. The difference between the deities and the Lord. Antavatu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpam medasam devan devajah yanti mad bhaktah yanti mam api. Antavat, that means ending. It has an end. Tu phalam tesham. Indeed is a fruit that occurs to those men, tesham, to them. Tat bhavati alpa medasam. Their medas is intelligence, is alpa, limited. Devan devayah devayajah yanti. The worshippers of devas go to them. Mad bhaktah yanti mam api. But my devotee will come to me because he is me. So we have this circle of life. First bhakti, then faith, then desire, then deity, then fulfillment of desire, then ending of the desire, again start round that process, which will give death as the outcome. So once he dies, God only knows what happens to that desires and all that. Whereas in terms of the supreme comes the bhakti, bhakti transforms itself into faith, faith into nishkamya karma. That is, doesn't have anything to do with asking, and to the deity. Because I only want the deity, I don't want anything other than the deity. Meaning to say that I want the attributes of that person. I don't want the person. Then comes reduction of desire. Then comes elimination of desire. Then I become that. So then there is no rebirth. So with that, let us end today, because tomorrow, Monday, we can take the Maya and how it works and how to recognize the God in the Maya and all that. Any questions?
So this says that we should not do puja for devatas. We have to do only finally Brahman.
Yes. If you want liberation, or if we want liberation as a target.
Yeah, all I think everyone's target is liberation, but because of what we follow, that Rivaji customs, that takes us to only up to God. I think
Yes.
that's what we generally do. Most of us.
Yes.
Is it misguided in the society by some forces, or
No, nobody.
it is guided properly by all these acharyas that is the best way for
No, there
common
is.
people?
No, there is this way. There is the classes and the masses. So everybody cannot get into liberation, and everybody cannot be the masses. And some people are in liberation, some people are in bondage, some people are in between. They don't know whether they're in bondage or in liberation. So that happens because of one's own karma, which is driven by the triguna, sattva, rajas, tamas. So nobody does anything for anyone, including the acharyas, let us say the people who are there in mutts today. They don't do anything because they also have the same triguna. They also have sattva, rajas, tamas, and we don't know, or he might not know that whether what is running currently, tamas or rajas or sattva. So we all have the same problem. So that is the reason it is also called as a Vasudeva Kutumbam, because we all have the same challenges. Everybody wants to get liberated, but the problem is that we get stuck up somewhere because of our own limitation in terms of the sattva, rajas and tamas. It's not that somebody is misguiding us or doing anything to us. We get misguided because our nature works that way. So we go to the people with whom we find comfort. And the Devata selection is also in that way only. That is what he is also saying.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the vignana. What is he giving? Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna's Gyana. We are working only at Gyana level, not Vijnana level.
Yes. So he is saying that you do whatever it is. Ultimately, the person comes to me, he might not know.
So anything we read is only reaches maximum to Gyana level, not beyond that.
Correct.
What you practice is Vijnana.
Correct. So all time practice is the only solution to the problem.
So sooner we drop all things in between stages, it's better for us.
Yes, so even...
but you need a qualification also to drop this and connect it with the pure spirituality.
No, that will automatically come. Once we start, it is like the Samudra Manthana. It will come.
Okay, one more thing. When the Guru Diksha, that is for attaining Brahman, or it is attaining Ramakrishna? Generally, in our society,
nobody can. I don't know.
Now, what exactly happens when somebody gives diksha to someone? See, one level of diksha is in the that the sannyasis. They don't get married, and that diksha, and they become some ashrama swamijis. And other diksha is purely like Sri Hari, there is some great guru is there, he will give some diksha. So Sri Hari's diksha I have understood. Initially he was going through some issues and then he was trying to solve. That is a Kamya Phala. And also I think he has initiated how to reach that Sri Chakra, Shakti, Puja and all that. I just wanted to understand the difference between when people give, knowledgeable people give diksha. And all these people are not realized when they give diksha. That is also understood.
Yeah, so the best document which has all of this is Viveka Chudamani. The initial part of Viveka Chudamani talks about Guru and Shishya. How should the Guru be and how the Shishya should be. If we can take that, then it becomes very easy, because in that Shankaracharya says how one should really look at the Shishya and the Guru. So when you are taking Diksha, you need to know whether the Guru is eligible enough to give you Diksha or not. So what is Diksha for? This in the second case is if I want to become a hermit or a sannyasi, I should have had the qualification of Vairagya and Viveka. That is a must. And the Guru should have had all the Dashad Sampatti what is required. And he should be able to demonstrate to the Shishya. So sadhana he should have had, plus he is able to clarify to the Shishya on what is Brahman, what is Brahma, what is Atman, what is Atma, what is real, what is unreal, and all of that he should be able to demonstrate to the student. And student should check the teacher whether he really means what he says or is he only talking through the book. So he should be able to demonstrate the Shishya, the Guru. And the Guru should be ready to be scrutinized by the Shishya. And then the Shishya, once he has found out that this person is the Guru, then the Guru will question the Shishya. And now the Guru should investigate whether this Shishya is a good Shishya for him or not. Does he have the enough caliber to understand and reason out, and is he serious of getting into this? And only when that happens, Guru is supposed to give Diksha to the Shishya. So this is the process.
Okay, thank you, Vilas.
So if we want to search a Guru, we have to do that. If we want to search a Shishya also, we have to do that. So there is a documented process, perfect documentation.
But it's also Punyam based, right?
Yes, that is also there. But then only falling on the Punya is not a right thing to do. It is better to use the Viveka. So we can find that person whom we are sure that knows everything and he can liberate, or he can help in liberation. So he should have seen Brahman, minimum qualification. Meaning he has seen Brahman in the sense that he has experienced what is Brahman and he can demonstrate to the Shishya.
Yes.
And then Diksha will help in that life of that Shishya to completely devote to that. That is the reason.
Yeah.
Lata, Padmashri, anything you have?
Without Diksha, you cannot liberate.
You can.
It's not mandatory.
No, it is. If you have understood what it is, you are practicing it, then you don't require anything, right?
Yeah, it's only to show the way.
Yes. Yeah, the Guru, Gu plus Ru. Gu is darkness and Ru is light. So from darkness to light. So that is just a showing the way. So once you know the way, you don't require anything else.
Correct. So it can be anything which shows you the way, the book,
Yes.
something you hear,
Yes.
or a deity, or a guru. Anything can show you the way.
It will show you the way, but that is just a way. It is not the actual one. That walking has to be done by that person only.
Yeah, correct. Walking can be done only by the person. Like cannot be somebody else cannot walk on your behalf. So
Yes.
that is clear. But
Yes.
showing the way could be anything.
Yes, correct. Can be anything, including your own experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So I think your own experience, once you walk the path and you start getting some experiences, is when um, you know that you are on the right path.
Yes, true. And that's
So
the
that's
reason.
why I don't have any questions. When you talked about deities, you talked about this, you talked about that. I don't have that kind of questions. Before I used to think whether I'm on the right path, I'm going in the right way, right pace.
Or with the right person.
Right person.
That is also there.
So all that kind of questions I don't have. Now I need to practice.
Yeah.
And that is where I am trying to see how that I can incorporate in as much as possible in this daily activities we are doing. So separately finding time is not that easy. So you have to do it along with it. So that's where I am looking at
Correct.
how to do that.
In all the three of your cases, you have surpassed the need for getting into jobs. Honestly speaking. Okay, so you can do it. If this is coming in the way, let us say if the work is coming in the way because there is too much of politics and too much of work to be done, too much of convincing, too much of struggle and too much of time spending in the same thing again and again and again just for some monetary gain, and you find that it is not at all required, and then what you want is liberation than anything else, then you can drop it today. Because all the three of you are in that position. Honestly speaking. But then the question comes, what will I do after coming out? Then there is no need to do that. You can continue.
Yeah, correct. So for the work point of view, I'm just doing what needs to be done at that particular day.
No.
I'm not even thinking about what
Correct.
needs to be done tomorrow and what strategy has to be done. I'm just doing.
That is correct. I agree with you. But the thing.
But the time is spent. Quite a lot of time is spent.
Yes. So you are not able to spend time on the liberation aspect, whereas you are doing whatever best can be done, not getting involved with it. That is correct. But this one requires true dedication.
Yeah, full dedication and quite a lot of effort.
Yes.
So I know that. Yes.
So I want to
ask. One thing I want to ask: if your job involves, meaning if your job involves that you have to think about strategy, okay, that is what you're paid for. Meaning that is the expectation for the payment that is coming from APP. If you're not doing that, is that okay? Meaning okay, but for whatever reasons, I'm just asking because this has always been the fight in me. Meaning, if you have to do something. And for that, you have to make some actions. Of course, you may not be very close to it. That's a different thing. But you cannot say, I will not do those kinds of things because it is not falling into my, this meaning, I don't think about tomorrow because I am not needed. If I'm not needed to think about tomorrow, that's a different thing. But if my job involves thinking about tomorrow, putting a strategy which is 3 years from now,
You should do it.
How do you deal with that?
You should do it. Whatever the organization says or whatever the work demands, you should do it. Whether it is in line with what I expect it to be or not, I have to do it without having any attachment towards it.
Attachment to it. Meaning whether it happens like that or not, I don't know.
Exactly.
And I might be totally wrong. But today, when I'm doing it, I have to do it with as much sincerity to see to it that it works.
Yes.
Meaning not with the you can be dispassionate about it, but you cannot be insincere to it by saying that anyway I don't know what happens tomorrow. So these are all subtle things which I always keep fighting within myself when I'm doing the job, because it is, you cannot separate yourself from that insincerity or that dispassionate being. Where do you draw the line between the insincerity and the dispassionate aspect? So these are some things which are some kind of fights which happen in the mind. Where do you draw the line?
Yes, you need to do you need to put, or I need to put organization as the highest thing, and then do it even though personally I might not agree with that. Or if it is hindrance, because the only problem with this approach is that it will bring hindrance to the liberation path. Because when I'm making a strategy or whatever, it might...
Deeper, that is the question. Meaning, can you still attain liberation by being sincere there? Can you be sincere plus dispassionate and then attain liberation is the question. Or is it that you need to leave that to take this?
No, you will not be able to be perfect in that. So that is the reason, if you have seen any sane person who has gone on liberation path, have left all of that because it doesn't work out.
Exactly. That is, I don't have one example which says that the person got liberated being in the normal path.
No, it cannot.
Okay, happen. They would have realized. They would have realized. But then I don't have one. They have their family. They are working for it. They are earning and they are staying in the normal path. And then they feel that okay. First of all, there is always a question for me on liberation. Meaning, how do somebody else say that this person is liberated or not liberated? Because it is only that person will know whether he is liberated or not liberated. So for me, that itself is a question mark. But then I don't have examples, because we talk about examples of Shankara who left everything. We have examples of Buddha who left everything. We have examples of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Sharada Devi who actually left everything. Vivekananda who left everything. So all the examples that we are having, or all the paths that we are seeing, are the people who have left everything.
Yes.
So now being in this path and then looking at that, is that something?
No.
I'm not questioning whether it is possible, but it's so much more difficult than leaving it and then doing it.
No, the thing is, Padma Shri, it's very right. What you will get through by doing in a dispassionate way is that you will get a realization.
Till that point, I fully agree, and I understand it also. But this liberation is...
No, it will not happen. It will not happen.
But what about Lahari Mahashaya?
Even if you take the life of Lahari Mahashaya, he ultimately came out of everything.
Yeah, but he is fully dedicated, but he was having a wife, children,
yes,
everybody. He was reading and he was also having a job.
Correct, but then, no, that is the... Yeah, Lata, complete, you complete.
Yeah, so but then I know that he has been doing much more rigorously than any of us in that path. But still he was a householder.
That is correct. I agree. But this liberation thing, nobody can say anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So we can't negate that he was not liberated, nor we can say he was liberated, because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Correct.
Anybody cannot know. But if you see, except for Lahari Mahashaya, anybody else, even including Yogananda, he left everything.
Correct. Paramahamsa, Yogananda, Yukteswar Giri.
Yes, they left everything. So
yeah, that's Swami Rama.
Yes.
He also married and left everything.
Yes. Yes.
Ramana Maharshi left everything. All the people, even Raghavendra Swami,
He left.
for that matter, left everything. Had
Correct.
to leave everything.
Correct. So the liberation is only for one who gives himself up. And in a job world, you cannot.
Yeah. So that is the question: is can you, in midst of everything, renounce everything? That's very difficult.
No, that is the whole objective of doing it. See, you will get a realization. Realization is what is real,
Yeah.
what is unreal. So now we all have got realization. So if you were to ask, am I self-realized? You know you are self-realized. What else you have to know about self-realization?
But you have to also experience it, no?
No, whatever little bit or whatever experience you have got shows that that is how the self will look, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now you want to go behind that, correct?
Yes.
Then you have to leave everything.
Yes.
Or leave that and be with this thing. You can't be with both. See,
That's exactly my question. That leaving is meaning you have to leave. Otherwise, there is no, because still that if you don't leave or can't leave because of X, Y, Z reasons, the reasons can be anything.
Correct.
I'm not saying whether those reasons are right, wrong, and all. It must be the purest of the reasons which are right. But my question is, if you cannot leave one, and how can you just say that I can do both together?
no, not possible. Not at all possible. As long as the identification is going to be there, there is no liberation.
Right, when you don't leave, that identification is there. Why don't you leave? Because you are still identifying yourself as XYZ and you
Correct.
need to do it. So that need is still existing.
Correct. Very true.
Even if you have left your wants and wishes.
Yes.
But the need is still existing.
Yes, the need exists and the identification still exists.
So it still exists, yeah.
See, the earning or staying or doing something is required because there is an identity. The moment there is no identity, then there is no need for anything, right? So this is like a chicken and egg story. So I will first liberate and then I will leave everything, or I have to leave everything to get that liberation. So I don't know which way to answer that.
Then liberation will not be possible for you also, Vilas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not denying it. So I have to cut it off. See, I am not liberated.
You have left much more than any of us. That's true. But still, it is not complete.
No, but that's only a degree, meaning everybody has a degree of renouncing.
Yes.
But that degree has to be 100%, meaning, or it has to be a zero value.
Correct. It is not. See, Lata, let me clarify. I am a self-realized person at the max, but not a liberated person. I am on the verge of liberating, but the last few steps have to be taken, which I have not yet taken. So it will be wrong, or it will be also damaging on my part to say that, well, I'm liberated, but also in samsara, also working for this company and that company, and you see how much am I enjoying. That itself shows that I am not liberated. So it will be foolish enough to do that. Yes, I have experienced that. I know experiential reality can even be had with your family, with your work being there, everything is there. It is fine. It is good to experience, but that is not liberation. It is showing you that you have an ability to liberate. Most of the people don't have ability to liberate. Now you have an ability to liberate. Now you liberate. So that is where I am now. So
I am in the. You are anyway at least practicing. I'm still in that mode of getting into this kind of practice every day. I am doing something, but to increase that.
Yes, you need to increase and also intensify it, and then it will come to that state. See, think
Yeah,
is this
yeah.
way. See, now you see, I wanted to give up working at the age of 50. Okay, that is one I have determined. So now I am 48. So another 2 more years to go, by which time this responsibility as having a son also will take care to a reasonable degree. Right. And even I don't want to do this tourism business or whatever I was doing. That itself has gone off now because of COVID. Thanks to COVID, that is gone. Even then, I have only 2 more years left to do that. Okay. So by 2021 or 22, I should have given up all of these job and this and that and wife and son. That is what I am trying to do. Even now we have given up this relationship thing because they both are at least my this wife, she's also interested in this path, and that will be good for both of us to practice together. But then this relationship wouldn't be there at all as wife or husband or whatever. And I don't want to have any possessions either, that this is my home and this is my car and all that. Anybody want to take it away can take it away.
Just I will have to go for the other meeting. I will drop off. I think Lata got dropped.
Yeah. She dropped off. Maybe
we can discuss
tomorrow
on Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It was very nice
Bye.
discussion.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Bye.
much. Bye.